So here are my images, my inspiration images that I'm going to use, printed out with my little plan for the two cards. One is a free clip art image. It's called a SSStamp. I'll provide the link to her, which is this one. And then this one was actually a brooch. It's a piece of jewelry from the Art Deco era, and I just took it in Photoshop and removed the black here and made her skin gray so it was easier to see under my light table. And I enlarged it and made it the perfect size for this shape of this size of card. And then I just have my little notes here about what I'm going to do with this card, and they are to, well, you can read it. Draw a hat and face on white, cut out. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to stamp the hat flowers and the brooch flower, which is going to be right here. I'm going to color it with Copics, use pattern paper for the background, and use gray liquid pearls for the pearls, for her pearls. Then this one I'm going to do on watercolor paper in blacks and golds. Use my Kuretake watercolors and go for some sparkly gold in her headdress. I'm going to add a top feather like this, add some black hair, or make that black, and tilt it. They're just notes for myself. And then here's what I did with the digi image. I made two of them because I'm going to make two cards, and I'll show you how I did that. So here I am tracing on my light table. I said I was making two cards, one with the jewelry image, but this could be three cards because I didn't do the jewelry image this time. I'm just tracing basically the outline of the face, just the, doing a quick drawing of the face, and then I just stuck a feather on top of her cap there. And as you see, I'm following the lines, but I'm embellishing in my own way, taking off those stripes and taking off the flowers and the right. I just wanted the simple hat. I wanted to do a gray sort of felt looking hat. You'll see that when I color it. And this one on the left I'm working on, I'm just doing quickly. I decided to put the flowers in and keep some of the stripes because that one I was just gonna color, whereas the one on the right I'm gonna play more with paper, do a couple of the stamped flowers from the March card kit and put them in that missing spot, and just do a simple gray hat and sort of put a pattern paper behind her like my plan said. But then I like to give myself options. That's why I'm doing this one on the left that you see me doing now, just in case I feel like doing that one after. So here I'm just taking the smaller flower from the SSStamp March 2015 card kit and taking distress ink in scattered straw and inking that up. I'm going to ink her flower, and I put around the edges some wild honey distress ink, and in the middle I stamped some ripe persimmon. Now I'm coloring her cap, and I wanted it just to be simple gray. I wanted it to have the look of a soft gray felt hat, like they had in the 20s and the 30s. And the colors I'm using are neutral grays, Copics, in N2, N4 and N6, and you'll see me using various shades of those. And then I go in with the lighter one, N2, and I do little dots to make, that's how I made the texture.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you, alone. Boop, boop, ba-doo. I wanna be kissed by you, just you, nobody else but you. I wanna be kissed by you, alone. Up, I couldn't aspire to anything higher than still the desire to make you my own. I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you, alone. I couldn't aspire to anything higher than still the desire to make you my own. I wanna be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you.
And the man in the moon. When the little birds are nesting and I listen to them croon, there's two lonesome people in the whole wide world. That's me and the man in the moon.
Here I am just taking a little bit more of the wild honey on my craft sheet, just with a tiny bit of water, and filling out the flower, making it a little more pigmented, more vibrant color, because that stamping wasn't strong enough for me. So I'm just taking a little doe foot paintbrush and painting a little more on there. I'm just using my Copic multi-liner 0.5 pen to fill out the middle of that flower with a few stamen and, you know, little lines that I feel like putting in there for detail.
going in with Skin White E00, and I also use Barley Beige E11 and E13 Light Suntan for her skin. For her lip color, I use E4 Lipstick Natural. Okay, I'm cutting out the image here and fussy cutting it out. I'm gonna leave mistakes and little things that are on my mind and tips and things like that in my videos, because what's the point of watching another artist unless you can get inspiration and or learn from them. So I'm cutting out this image, and I learned that I do not like fussy cutting at all. I don't think I'll be doing a lot of that, and I just got my new Cricut Explorer, so I think I will let the machine do that. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal to cut out images like this, but I hate it. I don't like doing it. So you won't be seeing me do that a lot. But I cut out this image, and I think I'm doing it off screen here while I'm recording this. Oh no, what I'm doing now is I'm going around the edge with a Copic marker in a dark gray just to hide the white lines. And guess what? Welcome to hell. It's totally bled all in her face in weird little blotches. Talk about you do something and you're like, wow, I just wrecked all that work I did in the space of 5 seconds. So yeah, I totally did that. I wrecked the whole thing. But I'm gonna leave it in here to show you guys. I did fix it, I'm quite determined. I'm a determined person, and I don't give up. And if you tell me I can't do something, it's likely that I'm gonna go do it just because you said don't do it. And so I won't accept that it's wrecked. So I do go in and I fix it. So I'm gonna show you and tell you how I did that. So right now you're seeing me scribble with a clear marker. This is a touch marker actually. That's my colorless blender. I don't have the Copic one. I got the touch one because it's got a harder nib, and I figured the only reason I'd use a colorless blender is to do little dots, and I would want the harder nib, or to do things just like this and fix something and push the pigment away from something else. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just coloring around the little blotch. You can't see because it's not zoomed in. I might take this video into my Premiere program and zoom in for you. I don't know. Depends on if I have the time. Or I might just leave it here on my phone editing. So I'm scribbling all over her face in the colorless blender, pushing the pigment, pushing the gray, and it's dark gray on like white skin, so it's very prominent and it's hard to get rid of. But I just kept scribbling and letting that alcohol seep into the paper and push that pigment away. And then of course it creates this big white sort of absent of color part on the outer part of her face, right? So I just had to scribble sort of in the middle and keep going over to the left into her face to even it out, because I was going to put the pigment, I'm going to put the pigment back on the right side. You'll see me do that. But I just kept going, and sometimes you keep going, and you're like, oh, I'm totally making this worse. You know, the more you fool around. Like, if you do that on watercolor paper and you keep scrubbing away, and you scrub away all the surface of the watercolor paper, you could totally get screwed. Like, you know, it doesn't help to keep going. But I kept going because I can't leave it there. It was like blotchy gray things in her face. There was no way I could leave it. So I went all the way, and it ended up working out. And so I'm just putting the pigment back in with the skin colored Copic markers, and the ones I used are Skin White, E00, E11 Barley Beige, and E13 Light Suntan. And I had a fair flapper at the beginning, but now she's a suntan flapper, so whatever, it worked out anyway. So now I'm just you know, going back and questioning my decision. Do I want a different colored background? But I end up sticking with my first choice. So here I am trimming the main color paper, which is the nice marigold yellow, in 4 by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm just assembling my various pieces of paper here, parts to the card, and I didn't know, I mean, I had a vague image of what it was going to look like at the end in my mind, but the only thing that I had written, or I had firm, was my plan that you saw at the beginning. Everything else is basically ad lib, like the little designs in the flowers, the shadow you'll see coming up, the embellishments. It's all anything that I didn't write down at the beginning there, pretty much just ad libbing as I go along. So as I'm putting this together, I'm just kind of trying different layouts and stuff like that. So I ended up choosing the sentiment, "You've been on my mind," so I could give this card to a friend. And I am so sorry, but for some reason my phone did not record the end where I did the pearls around her neck or the embellishment or glued any of it together. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make my Art Deco inspired card. Please like and sub to my channel if you did. Thank you.